something within the lodge will inspire it. So it could be the youth in particular are into something, and you kind of have seen that throughout the history of Osceola's patches. Other lodges, guys, you would never see a lodge do the colors of apple. Okay, you never see that in another lodge. Okay, so that's kind of cool. You would never see kind of some of these unique designs that the lodge has done over the years. The lodge that I'm in is very, that's a good way to say it, overly organized. Okay, and so there's lots of people you got to go through, and you got to make friends, and so whereas within Osceola Lodge, you could sit down today, draw up the patch, and hand it to the LEC, and the LEC will go, okay, we'll do that for next year. Right? Am I right or wrong? Okay.
I've been there.
Okay, so you know. Whereas other lodges don't operate that way. And I always thought that was kind of cool. So from an inspirational point of view, that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, and right now I'm doing a set for Chippewa, and I was inspired by the Guy Harvey artwork. Right? I just think it's a cool stuff. I got a chance to meet him and look through his gallery, and I thought that was really cool. But I didn't want to just rip off Guy Harvey. I wanted to do my own thing. So just to kind of give you an idea as to how the patch, some of the incarnations of a patch. This is a year patch. So when the first time that I drew up a patch, that's how it was. Okay? And that was okay. And I had done a previous patch for the lodge, for Chippewa, I should say.
I have a question. Do you use like a compass or a protractor?
Oh, yeah. I do a technical drawing. So this was a patch that Chippewa did last year for the year patch. The theme was Chippewa kaleidoscope. Okay? That's cool. And in this particular patch, there's 11 chapters and there's 11 teepees. One of the things that I like to do in all the patches I've ever done is incorporate symbolism into the patches. And so this one has 11 teepees, has 11 pieces of patchwork, there's 11 feathers, and there's 11 arrows, all onto that patch. Okay. So that was the starting point that I started with. It was going to be a compass with the sailfish on it, and I was going to stylize the letters so that they were east and west and kind of south, but there were W's also. That was kind of what I was trying to do. Next year is the 70th anniversary of Chippewa Lodge, so we put established 1946. So that was the first sketch. But the fish was lost. You see how the fish is, I mean, it's there, but it's kind of lost, right? So I said, well, maybe I should make the fish bigger. And I did. I made the fish bigger, kind of grew out of the compass a little bit, really dynamic. I wanted it to be kind of action-like, right? So that's where I went with that. The final patch, this is the sketch. I'm sorry, it's kind of light, but I wanted it to be like you were up, looking down at the fish jumping out of the water. So we splashed the water on the outside. This Chippewa is written to kind of look like water splash. So that kind of brought the whole thing. I wish the patch came out today. I can show you a color picture if you all want to see it. Sure. Because I do have a color picture. And then the whole theme of the year is going to be Florida's game fish. The sailfish is the state saltwater fish. Somebody tried to tell me it was a tarpon, and that was not true. Sailfish. But that's the tarpon. That's going to be for the ordeal. This is the Dolphin, that's for the activity patch for their fall fellowship. Yeah. Sir? What's that? Oh, yeah, tarpon is huge in Punta Gorda, absolutely. Isn't that the high school too? Yeah, that's what I thought. And then this is how that patch came out in the end. There you go. Boy, that's like 30 years old.
I know.
Okay. All right, so you guys have an activity coming up. Oh.
I was going to say presidential candidates, there's too many of them.
Well, Jeff is working.
What I did bring, if anybody is interested in looking at it, this is
monkeys.
every
Do you know you like them?
every sketch, every version of every patch that I've kept for Osceola over the years. Okay? So you guys can look at that. There's
Unpublished ones?
Yeah, what were the bucks from? Steve Fullwood sent me some
you
of
know,
those.
that was Gary's idea way back when he was a chapter advisor.
Gary, look at you with your...
And these were chapter bucks. And if a scout went to a chapter meeting, he got $1. Chapter buck. He went to a lodge weekend, he got a 5 chapter buck. At the end of the year, they had a patch auction. And the adults would kick in patches, and the boys could buy patches using their chapter bucks. They also did a couple other things too, where I think if you were an officer, you got stuff. If you did a certain number of service hours at a weekend, you'd get chapter bucks. So there was a couple ways for you to earn that. So that's what that is. This was a. There is the very first. That's the very first Osceola Chiquis, literally hand drawn, and the transfer was made from that. The funny thing, I was telling you guys that.
And what, is that a sticker? What? Oh, I remember Craig has a shirt with the other one on the front of it.
Okay, remember I told you that the lodge was didn't have a whole lot of money and stuff? So what we would do is we had to go to a t-shirt shop. And the t-shirt shop had these sheets. This is old. Had these sheets of iron-outs.
Osceola put a knife through that.
So, so the lady had these there, and you would go buy your shirt, and she would cut this out, and she would iron it onto your shirt. Had nothing to do with the lodge at all. Lodge went, well, you know, we should make some money off this somehow. So we got the sheets made up from her, and you could buy your thing from the lodge box. I think it was only like 50 cents too. I don't think it was very expensive.
For these, one of these.
And then you could take that to the t-shirt shop. Well, not everybody went to lodge weekends. So finally, the last thing that happened was we had them at the scout shop. And way back when, the guy that ran the scout shop was a Vigil Honor member. He was the lodge, or the council registrar. So every single piece of paper that the council had went through his hands. His name was Jim Oswald. And Jim, he produced all the council newsletters. He produced all the lodge newsletters. He sat down with the lodge officers in the shop. And he had them in a drawer, and so you could go in and buy one from him, and then go down the street to the t-shirt shop and get your t-shirt. So that was like the first shirt. And then that other design I showed you was the next one that we did. And this one we did as this one. I was making some money, and so I went and changed it. And produced it myself, and then the lodge started using it. But I went to the t-shirt shop, they had them make up the crate for this. It was used on a white, on a trucker hat like this, except reverse, and a white front with a blue back. And then we produced a special one for those who went to NOAC or went to the Philmont trek. That Bill was on for the 75th anniversary. That was the first time we did an all blue hat with this on the front. There's 3 of those hats in existence. That's all.
Bill Granger has one.
No, I don't think so.
But do you have one? No.
No. There were 3 made for the 3 guys that went to Philmont, and that was it. So that's where that one.
Oh, because it was an iPhone.
That was a T-shirt design that we used, and on the back it had the Aeromaniac on it.
Yeah, that's great.
Craig Johnson's the only one who has one of those now,
I
Garrett's
think he
son.
got it from me. I brought it to a lodge meeting.
It's very coveted. Everybody
Yeah.
wishes they had that shirt.
This was the redrawn version of it.
Slide out, David.
That's the redrawn T-shirt design. And what else will we bring in here? Here's the flamingo. That started the flamingos.
Oh, and it was the peanut gallery. We read all about that. Reams is very into that. He wanted to do that whole look for section conference this year.
Yeah, this upcoming one, they had a shirt, they had a whole thing that they would wear, and they're the ones that won the ultimate frisbee competition.
There's your current council strip. The design for that is in here. There's some designs for patches that never got made. So you guys are more than welcome to take a look at that. Okay? Sorry it took so long. I didn't know it was going to.
You're awesome. Thank you.
Real quick before you all go, you know, it's been a long evening. We appreciate Dave coming and talking to us and stuff. One thing we want to do, first thing in the morning, especially